Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Instead We Made a Pod. I am one of your co-hosts. My name is Adam, and I am joined by the lovely MJ. How are you, MJ?
Hi. Yeah, I'm good. I'm pretty tired, but I break up for half term next week, so I'm looking forward to a week off. Very happy to be talking about Vidbir and something that we haven't talked about, which is that Ireland have a song now.
Ireland does have a song. I'm delighted. To be honest, I think everybody knows that I was rooting for Ailsa, but I think it's so amazing to number one see Bambi Thug and Ailsa as number one and number two and the final scores at Eurosong. I think that's going to do so much for alternative music in Eurosong. I think it's really going to branch out the type of genres that we see. And yeah, look, we've got a really strong act, and I can see us making it out of the semi-finals. So, look, it's the hope that kills you, but hopefully we see Ireland back on a Saturday night. That would be great. What are you thinking, MJ?
Yeah, I hope so too. I was really heartened to see the results of Eurosong, particularly from the Irish jury and the televote. It seems like Ireland are really ready for something different and new. And to be fair, Doomsday Blue has kind of been living in my head rent free since it won. So obviously, I
Mm-hmm.
was a real proponent of Gottem, but I really liked Doomsday Blue as well. And I'm really excited to see it on a big stage. I think it's going to be even better on a big stage.
Agreed. We didn't do an episode about Eurosong, and there was a few reasons for that, but mainly we were we were in a different country for
Yeah.
Eurosong. Myself and MJ are literally just back from Bulgaria a week ago. We went over with a couple of friends of the pod, and we were meeting up with one of our friends that lives over there. We are actually joined today by our friend of the pod. We are here with ESC Gottem. Gottem, how are you?
Hi, all right, I guess, after the shenanigans, which was with beer.
Oh, it was such a stressful kind of 2 days to be a fan. But Gottem, do you want to just tell our listeners really about your connection to Vidbir and what the contest means to you? I know it's your favorite national final, so maybe you can just kind of give a little bit of context of where this love for Vidbir comes for yourself.
Well, I guess the people that follow me already on social media and everything do know that Vidbir is one of my favorite times of the year. The reason being that it's the proper, maybe the biggest national final in Eastern Europe, which is where I come from. Plus, I have relation to Ukraine. I have ancestors from there. And Ukraine has always been like a big part of my identity, and I just have a lot of love for the country and therefore for Vidbir as well. And in my opinion, it has produced consistently great results for Ukraine, achieving 3 wins since its participation. I'm delighted every year by Vidbir.
I agree. I think that for me, like I was thinking about this the other day because I've always said I don't really have a stand country at Eurovision. I like who I like year on year. I think I've realized that Ukraine are fast emerging as my Eurovision stand country. I'm always so excited to see what they're going to send. I'm always so excited for Vidbir. It's always one of my favorite national finals. I mean, this year again, I was just so happy with it. I mean, we will get on to some of the shenanigans in a little bit, but I'm just always so happy and impressed by what they have to offer. So yeah, really excited to be talking about it today. Adam, what were your thoughts on Vidbir this year?
Yeah, it was great. I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm always consistently impressed by what Ukraine has to offer at Eurovision, and their national final is probably becoming one of the standout national finals each year. There's really no country that has as strong of a selection of songs. Especially this year, I think it's blown every other national final out of the water with just the amount of great songs that were in there. For me, there was maybe 4 or 5 songs that I would have been quite happy to see go to Malmo. So yeah, I just think it's an absolute joy of a national final to watch, and Ukraine should be so proud of what they've curated over the last few years. I guess then we will start off. So we're going to go through our top 5 really quickly, just go through fifth and fourth. tell us kind of like why we like them. And then for our third, second, and first, we will go into them a little bit more detail. So I guess I will get us started off then. My fifth place in Vidbir was actually Yaktak with the song La La La. I didn't like this going into the national final, but I have to say that the staging and the performance live did sell it to me a little bit more. I thought he sounded great. I thought the staging was amazing. And yeah, it was all around just quite a good package. Maybe not strong enough to go to Eurovision, but a really good national final song. You know what I mean? MJ, what was your fifth place?
My fifth place, kind of like you, Adam, wasn't one that was anywhere near my top five until I watched the national final. And it was actually Dreamer by Melovin. Again, I liked the song fine when I listened to the songs, but I kind of re-ranked everything as I was watching Vidbir this year. And I do think that he really brought it out, like pulled it out of the bag with his performance. He is an incredible performer. You've got to give him props for that. And to follow Teresa and Maria as a song as well, which I'm sure we'll get onto later, is no easy feat. And he did really well. And I was actually surprised that he didn't do better. I mean, he came third with the televote and the juries both, which is obviously really respectable. But from the jury comments in particular, I kind of had a moment where I thought that he might win the jury vote. So yeah, all around, I thought that he gave a really strong performance. And I would like to hear this at Euro Club. I think it would go off. So, hopefully they play it in Malmö in Euro Club. Gottem, what about your fifth place?
Mine is kind of surprising because I didn't expect this to finish in such a high ranking in my top of Vidbir this year, but it's Zifferblatt with the song Let's Go Home. I just think this song flew under the radar, but in the end we can all see that like the public and the juries especially appreciated the quality and the production of the song. I think in particular the chorus is quite strong. I'm not so sure when it comes to the verses, but I'm very satisfied with their results. They're overall positive people by the looks of it, and they have come across really, really well when it comes to interviews and everything. That's all I have to say. Plus, I appreciated their performance as well. I think it was quite put together.
I fame not like this. I really did not enjoy this song live, but I guess it's fine, I guess.
I was really surprised by just how well it did because I saw this on nobody's radar in the run up, but it won the jury vote. So, Gottem, what do you think it was about this that meant it won the jury vote and did like pretty decently with the televote as well?
Like, just quickly, first of all, that is a lie, Miss MJ, because
What?
our good friend of the pod, Micah, had this as her winner from day one.
Oh yeah, that's true. Micah loved it, but she was literally the only one I saw talking about how much she loved it.
But yeah, Gottem, what do you think was the reasoning behind this doing as well as it did?
Well, watching the show, the three of us watched it together, by the way, just hearing the juries and their praise for the song really makes sense now, considering where it ended with them. Obviously, it was their winner. After the performance, all of the juries were giving out their thoughts and opinions. And I think this is the only entry that Jamala and Verka didn't go ham on. They just really liked the concept. They liked the fact that it was kind of referential. They mentioned that it reminded them of the Beatles, basically saying that they did their homework with the song and that they appreciate seeing such a well put act coming from artists which are not that well known in Ukraine. Yeah, the juries did love it. I was surprised by how well the performance and the song was received by the public. I really didn't see this coming, but I guess people did connect with the entry.
I do love the comparison to the Beatles because it's giving Euro song panel comparing some of the artists to like Adele and stuff. Jamala was talking quite a lot during that show.
We will surely get onto some of her comments because I couldn't believe I adore Jamala, but I couldn't believe some of the comments that were coming out of her mouth on that panel.
Yeah,
We'll get
agreed.
on to it.
So I suppose then we'll move on to our fourth place. So my fourth place was Yagadi with Tsunamia. This was my runner-up going into Vidbir, but I have to say it just didn't wow me as much as I needed it to wow me when the live came. I still thought it was very consistent, it was very strong, but there just wasn't that moment for me that really kind of grasped me the way that the studio cut did. I think that they could have included a few more cultural elements of Ukraine into it. It was well thought out and it's a good song, but it didn't wow me as much as the studio cut did in terms of the live performance. It just needed something a little bit more. MJ, your fourth place.
My fourth place, which again was one that was nowhere near my top four going into it, but then got re-ranked as I was watching it, was Skylar with Time Is Running Out. I feel like the juries were so harsh on this woman. I don't know if she did something to offend them backstage or something, but it felt like they were really gunning for her. They were coming for her dress, and I thought her dress was beautiful. They were really, really harsh on her. And so when it came to, I mean, we can probably talk about this a little bit as well when it we'll undoubtedly talk about the voting because it was a huge part of Vidbir this year. But I kind of wasn't surprised that when the issues with the televoting came out, she was like, well, I'm going to withdraw. Because if I was stood there listening to the comments from the jury, I think I would be coming away going, well, obviously I'm not going to win. And so, maybe there was an element of her wanting to save face. Obviously, they didn't let her because by that point it was way too late. But I kind of understand why she might have come away feeling a bit defeated. And I do feel like that's kind of unfair because I thought the song was really good. I really liked the hook. I thought she looked great. I liked the performance. Was it my winner? No, but I didn't think it was as bad as the juries were making it out to be. I don't know. I feel like just there needs to be a little justice for Skylar. I felt bad for her. And I liked her enough to put her forth. So yeah, that's where it ended up.
Totally agreed. I will get onto Skylar a little bit later as well. But I agree with everything you're talking about there, MJ. Gottem, your fourth place.
My fourth place is Anka with the song Palala. To be fair, I didn't really like the performance that much, mainly due to the vocals, but I'm just really happy with the song. I think she's not a well-known artist in Ukraine. This was her first debut performance, and I think for a debut performance, it was great. I really like the fact that the song is entirely in Ukrainian, so props to her for that. The performance was okay, in my opinion. I just really, really liked the song. I really, really liked her outfit. Plus, she's super sweet. She was actually on The Voice of Ukraine, where she didn't go that far. But to be fair, I see a great future for her. And this really stood out among the other entries, in my opinion, on the night.
I would agree with that as well. I actually heard as well that this was her first time using in-ears at all. So massive props to kind of how she just kind of came out on really her first time doing anything like this and gave a really good performance. For me, the vocals were very shaky as well. Yeah, fair play to her. MJ, what did you think of Palala?
I love Palala. I still listen to the studio version and will continue listening to the studio version. It was one of my favourite songs going in. I listened to all of the wildcard songs as well, and it was far and away the long listed song I wanted to make it through to the final. So I was really happy when it did. I'd really like to see Anka come back when she's got a bit more experience performing in such a big capacity under her belt. I know she has made music before under a different name, but I do think that with more experience, like you said, of using in-ear technology when you're performing and that kind of thing, I think she could send something really strong and be a real contender in a future Vidbir. Song-wise, it was one of my favourites this year. Live-wise, I agree. I think she just needs a bit more experience performing on that kind of stage and with that kind of technology. But once she has it, I'd love to see her come back because I loved this song.
Yeah, me too. Okay, then we will move on to our top three then. So My third place actually is Skylar with Time Is Running Out. I have to echo everything MJ said. I thought that the juries were so harsh on this, and I don't really understand why. I thought vocally Skylar was really, really strong on the night. I thought the performance was really well put together. For me, this, like, I was genuinely sitting there before I heard the juries kind of go after it, and I was like, could this maybe be like a shock dark horse that comes out of nowhere and wins? But that was quickly dashed by how harsh the juries were on it. And I can totally understand and empathize why Skylar was just like, well, I'm not winning this, so can I just leave? Because as Skylar made her point as well, with the voting being open for a day, when you're going up against juggernauts in Ukraine like Jerry Hale and Aliona and Malavin, and even Yaptak, who's massive on social media in Ukraine, it does seem like it kind of gives the bigger artists a bit more of an advantage when it's open for a day rather than just after the show itself. So I can see where she was coming from there. I just thought the song was really, really good, and I just don't know what the juries didn't see in this because it was really, really strong, in my opinion. MJ, your third place.
My third place, we've already mentioned it, was Yehudi with Tsunamia. I really liked this going in. I really like the kind of folk elements for the song. I'm a big fan of kind of traditional folk music that gets reworked at Eurovision. It's always one of my favorite things, and this was no exception. And I really liked the fact that it was super theatrical in its performance as well. I mean, they are a theatre group. That's how they started. And I feel like you could really tell from the way that they performed on stage. I understand that maybe the criticism was that this didn't stand out as much as it could have. But I also, again, I feel like, as you said, Adam, when you're going up against huge juggernauts like Aliona and Derry Hale, you're maybe going to be on a bit of a back foot there anyway. But I really enjoyed this, and I really enjoyed the performance as well. I think I had it fourth before the ranking, so it ended up getting bumped up slightly because I felt like it was one of the stronger live performances, whereas some of my favorites before watching it kind of maybe didn't do as well live as I was hoping. So I thought live vocally they sounded really good. So that's why it ended up being third.
Yeah, you can definitely see that theatre group thing come through, but at the same time, maybe kind of giving GCSE drama a little bit with those
Hey,
costs.
listen, I did GCSE and A-level drama, so maybe I just felt an affinity with it. I was just remembering every devised piece I had to do at school.
Yeah, for me, I don't know, the costumes just looked a bit cheap, and it just, yeah, it didn't really do it for me. Gottem, who was your third place?
So my third place is Nahaba with the song Glass. I was quite surprised by the performance because I think most of us who are fans of the song did expect this to crush and burn live just because of how many vocal effects are used in the studio cut. But to be fair, this was not a bad performance. Although I do have to say that I hated the makeup, I hated the hair, I hated the outfits. It was not polished enough in my opinion, but it did stand out massively considering it was last in the running order as well. Um, in my opinion, this is probably the second or third strongest song in the selection, and it's really refreshing to see a sound like this in Vidbir, which tends to go for more mainstream or folk sound. But I do have to say that I did enjoy the performance. I like their energy. To be fair, they did perform quite well considering the pressure they were under, especially the days following up Vidbir, because everybody was accusing them of plagiarism because apparently they have a similar sound to Tattoo, the Russian duo. We're not going to talk about them. But yeah, I just don't see that comparison. But to be fair, I did like the performance. I think it was massively tanked by both the juries and the televote, which is not really shocking. Really, really enjoyed the song.
I think that's a perfect segue into my runner-up, which is also Nahaba and Glass. So I'll go through my thoughts on this song as well because I was obsessed. I thought the staging was on point. I know that the outfit on the girl looked quite cheap, but I did love that kind of makeup oil effect kind of thing that they had going on for the guy. And it was just so good. And the thing is, this song is so difficult to sing live. You really have to have a powerful voice to be able to perform that song live. And she did it. She did it really, really well. I remember, like, in the first 3 seconds, I was like, oh God, here we go. And then I was just like, wait, no, she's killing it. I really don't see how this tanked. It was so good. It really deserved to be kind of coming up near the top of the leaderboard, and for this to be close to the bottom and come last with the juries. Usually Ukraine seem to be so in touch with what would do well at Eurovision, and I do think something like this would do so well at Eurovision. It would really stand out and people would really gravitate towards it. In terms of the comparisons to Tattoo, I don't see them at all, really. They both have a grungy kind of aesthetic and sound, but that's really where it begins and ends. I don't know. I really don't know how the jury thought that this was last place when there was songs like Zifferblatt and Slavic English in the selection. That's just my opinion. Gottem, did you want to say something there?
I disagree completely with the Zifferblatt slander, but okay.
Well, MJ, do you have something to say as well? I saw you unmute.
Yes, I do. I will not hear any slander about Slavic English. I
This is me
love
and
that
my
song.
and MJ's song.
Yeah,
So
we were literally watching this because for people who don't know, obviously Gottem has talked about his Eastern European background and his Ukrainian ancestry. I am also of Eastern European extraction. I have Polish in my family. And while we were watching Vidbir together, I was like, Gottem, this is our song. We're Slavic English. And now whenever I hear it, I'm like, oh, that's mine and Gottem's song, Slavic English. So, Adam, I will not hear your Slavic English slander. Not today.
I will continue to slander it. Both of those songs deserve to come below Nahaba, but whatever. Yeah, I just don't understand how this came as close to the bottom as it did. I know it didn't come dead last, but to come dead last with the jury, oh, I just don't get it. It really did break my heart. But MJ, who was your runner-up?
My runner-up was also Glass by Nahaba. This remained my runner-up as well. I had this second from when I heard all the songs right up until seeing it at Vidbir. I love this kind of music, and I don't know if anyone has listened to any of their other music, but I really liked the rest of their back catalogue that I listened to as well. They're going to become a band that are on my regular rotation, I think. I really, really enjoy it. And I was also thinking that this was going to be a real sink or swim moment live. I could see it being incredible or a complete train wreck. And I agree. I thought it was incredible. It's so vocally demanding, but she absolutely pulled it off and he sounded great as well. And I get that it's very Marmite, and in that sense, it was either gonna do amazingly or crash and burn. Unfortunately, it did kind of tank. Unfairly, I think. This came last with the juries, and I think that's really unfair. I don't think it deserved to come last. And I was actually quite surprised that it did come last with the juries because they didn't seem like they were loving it in the comments, but they also had a lot of positive things to say about them. So I was quite surprised. I don't get the tattoo comparisons at all. Gottem, do you have any insights into why the jury hated this so much?
yeah, I was listening to the direct broadcast. I was not listening to the commentary and translation, which kind of sucked in my opinion. But hearing the jury and their comments on the song, I kind of had the gut-wrenching feeling that this would come last with them. They did not like this entry immediately from the get-go, with the first comment from Verka being basically, we know about the tattoo comparisons and plagiarism, so I kind of knew where it was going. This is not surprising to me that they finished last with the juries, considering the style of music Vorka and Jamala make. I don't know the third guy, to be fair. I don't think anybody does.
I don't think he's making music like this, no matter who he is. That's really
Yeah.
interesting, though, that like maybe there was a bit that was getting lost in translation because I was kind of watching the English commentary, but it's quite easy to get overstimulated by just how much is going on all at once. So yeah, maybe there was some stuff I was kind of missing there. I'm very blessed that we have a guest who speaks Ukrainian to kind of give us insights that me and Adam just do not have.
Yeah, and just to wrap up on Nahaba and Glass, I do have to give a shout out to Andriy, who is fighting in the Ukrainian armed forces. So shout out to him.
Yeah, definitely shout out to him. There were a lot of shout outs to relatives and partners of people that were performing as well, whose partners and relatives are serving in the armed forces. And I really appreciated that there was the link to donate the Ukrainian army all the way through as well, and that anyone could donate to that. I know that I gave a little donation as well. So really glad that that happened.
Yeah, I would just like to also say, like, it's really important to remember we're all sitting here talking about a national final, and it's all well and good to sit here and kind of have a fun little chit chat about Eurovision and what songs we liked and all of this. But we have to remember that there's an occupation and an invasion happening of a country that is so close to home for so many of us, and that so many of us have ties to. Whatever you can do, if you did watch the national final and you didn't donate, please go online, find out where you can. If you can, please donate something to the Ukrainian armed forces. This needs to be something that doesn't leave our minds. Slava Ukraini. Gottem, do you have something to say?
Heroem Slava. Yeah, I would also urge you to go and donate. I know a lot of people don't have enough to donate or feel like they're hopeless, but anything is appreciated. The war is not over, and it's important to remember that.
I guess we will move on to your runner-up then, Gottem, as well.
Well, my second place is Yehudi with Tsunamia, which was actually my winner for a very long time. I was kind of let down with the performance, to be fair. I expected a lot from this band, which, to be fair, did great considering that they're not a well-established artist in Ukraine. But yeah, I expected a lot from their staging, just going off on the song. I do have to say that I did not connect with staging at all, in my opinion. It would have been much better to go for something more traditional, something more go-away than whatever they did. I did not get anything, to be fair, from the staging. I didn't like the costumes, I didn't like the hair, I didn't like the masks. It was all kind of just a little bit messy for me and not cohesive enough with the song. But I do love the studio track of this song. I think it could be a soundtrack, an epic song that definitely could perform well in Eurovision, especially if they go about the staging correctly. I think they should consider coming back to Vidbir. I think they could be great representatives of Ukraine in the contest.
Yeah, I think it would be really exciting to see them come back eventually. And yeah, really, really good band. You know what? I'd be so happy with so many of the artists that we saw this year come back eventually. There was so many strong artists and so many kind of up and coming artists in Ukraine. I think the future for Ukraine in Eurovision is so bright. There's so many really, really strong artists, and the music industry in Ukraine just constantly blows me away with how strong it really is. We will move on to our winners, and I feel like this conversation is going to be a very, very easy conversation for the three of us. But I will start with my winner, which is Teresa and Maria, Jerry Hale, and Aliona. Wow. Wow. This song is absolutely incredible. I have been addicted to it since the second I heard it. It's blown me away. I cannot stop streaming it. It's now become my most streamed song of the year so far, and I feel like it will continue to go down that road. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of art, really. The whole thing, from the instrumental to Jerry's vocals to Aliona's rap verse, the whole thing is just absolutely incredible. I really can see this pushing for a win in Malmo, and I would be very, very happy with this winning in Malmo. At the moment, this is my winner. I really don't see how anything else will beat it. Maybe we might get something incredible from Sweden or the UK or one of the other countries, but I'm just blown away by how Ukraine can do this every single year. When you look at the streak that Ukraine are on now of Solove to Shum to Tvorchi to this. Sorry, and also Stefania. Oh my god, I can't
It literally won.
and Stefania to it's just what a streak, man. It might be the strongest streak of all time in Eurovision. Just incredible. And yeah, this has blown me away. I cannot believe that this is going to Eurovision. I can't believe I'm going to see this live. I'm going to be such a mess when I see it live. I'm just going to be crying the entire time. Jerry Heil, you are an absolute queen, and I love you. MJ, who is your winner?
Yeah, I'm not even going to pretend it's anything else. I love Teresa and Maria so much. I loved it from the moment I heard it. I was really excited to see what Alyona and Jerry Hell would do anyway. I really like the music that they make together. And When God Shut the Door was my Vidbir winner last year. I do feel like Jerry Hale just goes from strength to strength. You know, if you look at her trajectory from vegan to When God Shut the Door to this, it's just such an amazing upwards trajectory. She's gone from strength to strength. For me, this song is just beautiful. It's just a beautiful composition. They sound great together. Jerry's vocal with the rap is just incredible to me. I'm really excited to see what this looks like on an arena stage. I thought it looked great on the Vidbir stage, which was obviously a lot smaller. There were some obvious issues with sound mixing on the night, I think, which made me quite nervous. At the beginning, I thought the backing track sounded so loud, but Jerry powered through. My heart leapt into my throat a little bit when she, almost 5 seconds in, just took out her earpiece. I was like, oh no, what's going to happen? But she still sounded incredible, even not having her earpiece in. I'm just so impressed by those women. And I can't wait to see this live. I have jury final tickets. But I'm saying I can't wait to see it live because I cannot see a situation where this doesn't make it out of the semi. And yeah, I agree. I think this is a real contender for the win. It's my winner at the moment, and it would take something really, really, really special to knock it off the top spot for me. I haven't stopped listening to it since I heard it. I just love it so much.
T. Gottem, do I need to ask who your winner was?
Shockingly, it's Drevo. No, just kidding. It's of course Alona. Of course, it's Alona Jerry Hill. I need to mention how much I love their music. I have been following them for the past like at least 3 years. I'm so happy that Jerry is finally a Eurovision artist. I think this was absolutely the best choice for Ukraine. First of all, it has been absolutely smashing the charts. It has been first on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. Their performances collectively have received 4 million views on YouTube. Just an incredible result, especially when we consider the fact that they swept the televote with 700,000 votes on the app. I was not shocked when this won, although I was kind of nervous, but this is absolutely the correct choice for Ukraine. It just absolutely just value, and it's just world class in my opinion. From the lyrics to Alona Lona's rap, I in love with their performance, even though obviously there were sound issues as MJ mentioned, but I think that's easily we don't have to worry about that for Mama. And I think room to elevate this, but I think it's just going to look so grand on the Eurovision stage. I think this could possibly take it in Malmo. Obviously, it's my first place. Another year of me being a nationalist everywhere. I absolutely love this. And I think, although there is discourse after them winning in Ukraine right now about how this song is too much leaning into Christianity, too much leaning into the figures of Mama Teresa, especially, that obviously she's a controversial figure in general. But I do think this is more of a metaphor for just like having the faith and the strength to carry on, and obviously women empowerment, which we love to see. Absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait for this. I'm so sad that I'm not going to Malmo. with the two of you to witness this in real life. But yeah, I'm just blown away.
Don't worry, I will be FaceTiming you every single time I see this live.
Gotta say,
Yeah.
when I was referencing earlier about kind of some of the more interesting critiques from Jamala in particular, this was that one about the discourse about kind of it leaning towards kind of religious themes. That was one of the ones that I was like, wait, what? It's so clearly a metaphor, but it really made me worry for how it was going to do with the jury, not so much the televote. Because I was like, oh gosh, what if they tank it for that reason?
It was nerve-wracking. I always saw this winning. It was so nerve-wracking, that final couple of seconds while we were getting those scores from the jury and televote. I was just like, oh my God, if this doesn't win, I don't know how we're going to do this episode, because we would all be very, very angry. But look, in the end, the best song did win. And you can just see from the reception of even how it just absolutely cleaned the televote. The right song won in the end. Gottem, do you have something to say?
Yeah, to be fair, this clearly has the most appeal out of the entire lineup of Vidbir this year. It's already trending in Czechia and Poland. I think this trend will continue after Eurovision and during the week of Eurovision. I think this is a real contender, and we might be going for a fourth win, so kind of excited about that.
You're almost catching up with Ireland.
Well,
I think we should have a little conversation before we wrap up about the voting itself and the Dia app and what exactly happened there, because Vidbir was so great this year, but the voting was a mess. It cutting to the live in the studio, and I think they went on for maybe like an hour just talking to the contestants, and it was just so messy. Obviously, Dia as an app, the developer was saying that they kind of got like 150,000 votes for Vidbir last year or something around that, and this year it was 1.1 million. So there was obviously just a massive uptake in interest in Vidbir this year, which is great to see. But Dia really need to prepare for next year's Vidbir if it's going to be at this level, because this cannot happen again. It was such a mess, and the controversy that's come out of it with Skylar withdrawing, with Melovin talking about it on his social medias and maybe saying that that's why he didn't do as well as he did. Yeah, just very, very messy. MJ, what did you make of it all?
I mean, listen, I adore Vidbir. It would not be Vidbir without some kind of drama. You know, whether it's an artist threatening to withdraw, whether it's someone saying they're never going to do it again and then coming back a year or two later. This was on a whole other level. And I know that the Dia app is not just a Eurovision voting app. This app is used for everything. It's what Ukrainians have important documents on. So a big app crash like that, not only the chaos it's going to cause, but it happening because of a song contest is just wild to me. And the fact that so many people turned out in droves to vote for Alyona, and Jerry Hale, because let's face it, that's who got the lion's share of the votes. They got over 700,000 votes. And I mean, we have national finals that happened this week that didn't even get a fraction of those votes. I think Benidorm Fest got 25,000 televotes altogether. And I mean, that was probably quite a low scoring act in Vidbir. So it is crazy to see that it had so much public support. And really, if that is the case, I mean, thank goodness that Jerry Hale and Alyona did win, because can you imagine the outcry if they hadn't and that was the televote support for them? It would have been a complete mess. I have to give a shout out to the interpreter and to the woman that was doing sign language for people who are hard of hearing, because they put in an even bigger shift than I think they were anticipating. I really hope that they got some extra money or something, because the translator in particular, she just sounded so tired by the end of it. And yeah, shout out to everyone that kind of rolled with it and really tried to pull it together, because that cannot have been easy. I mean, even the artists the next day, because obviously it ended up being a full day before we got the results, even they looked really, really tired by the end of it. So I hope that everyone involved is enjoying a well-deserved rest at the time of recording, because gosh, like I don't think we've ever seen anything like that in a national final before.
Gottem, what did you make of the whole thing?
I do have to say that it was quite a stressful experience watching Vidbir this year. I think it was a great decision to make the voting on the app, considering how many Ukrainians live abroad, have fled the country. I think it's only fair to make the voting accessible to everyone, every Ukrainian citizen. I do have to say that it was kind of scary seeing the app crash this badly. MJ mentioned what the purpose of the app is, but for those who don't know, this is basically the entire life of every Ukrainian in their phone. It's their health insurance, their health documents, their ID, their passport, their driving license. It's just like everything in one place. And an app like that crashing is kind of scary. But to be fair, I think it's only fair that the developer and the producers of Vidbir decided to leave the lines open for the entirety of the following day. I think it's only fair that every Ukrainian that wanted and watched the show casted their vote, because this is obviously their entry that is going to represent the entire nation in a couple of months. But yeah, I think that was only the best decision that they could have made. We all know how Skylar and Melvin reacted after the show and the results, but and I see where they come from, since it kind of did go from voting based on performances to a PR race. But to be fair, Ukrainians made their voices clear and they obviously chose the best entry. So I'm happy about that. I do have to say that the production was just phenomenal, considering it was probably filmed underground. Probably a huge amount of effort was put into actually making the final take place, considering there are many blackouts, bomb alerts, just the worst conditions to host a national final. But yeah, big shout out to the production of Vidbir. I'm so excited for when the war is over and we can finally see Vidbir unleash its full potential and becoming a proper big show in a big arena. I'm happy with the production, to be fair, this year, same as last year. So yeah.
That is a day that we will all be so excited for. I cannot wait for the day that me, you, and MJ can fly out over to Ukraine and watch Vidbir in an arena, go to a national final together when the war is finally finished and Ukraine is free again. We will wrap that up here. Thank you, first of all, so much to Gottem for coming on and adding insight and being our little translator yesterday, even on Saturday. You were just absolutely incredible, and thank you for popping on.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure watching the show with you guys and doing this now. My ad on Twitter is ESC and on Instagram is Nico the Kiev. You can follow me there if you want to hear my unbiased and professional opinions. Always.
Always.
MJ, do you have any final words?
Yeah, I just want to echo again, Adam, thank you so much for coming on and for defending Slavic English with me.
Always, MJ. It has been
Yeah.
a pleasure.
I guess all that remains to be seen is to make sure that you stay tuned for our next episode of Instead We Made a Pod. We're still going to be giving our thoughts more in depth on some of the national finals. And for our next one, what are we doing, Adam?
We are doing UMK, which we are so excited about. It is also one of the strongest national finals this year, and can't wait to see how Finland are going to choose, because they've got a couple of entries there that, much like Teresa and Maria, could be pushing for a win in Malmo.
Yeah, definitely the same for me. We also will be continuing to do the spaces on our Twitter, so keep your eyes peeled for those. You can follow us on Twitter at the Phoenix ESC. And please make sure you visit our website, phoenixesc.com, same as our Instagram, because we're uploading lots of new content for the national final season, including in-depth rehearsal reviews and live tweets from Melfest, because some of us have press accreditation this year.
Exciting. One final thing, I know we've already discussed it, but we have put the link to donate to the Ukrainian Armed Forces below. If you can, everything counts. Ukraine is a beautiful country full of culture that all of us know so well, and its defense should be the priority for so many of us. This is freedom that we're talking about. This is liberation of countries in our own continent. And we really do need to keep Ukraine and its people to the forefront of our minds at all times. Slava Ukraini?
Героям слава.
MJ?
I don't think there's really much else to say except we will see you. I was going to say we'll see you in Helsinki, but we're not actually going. We'll see you where we'll be. And it's not even in Helsinki.
It's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's in Tampere.
It's in Tampere. You know what? We won't see you anywhere in Finland. We'll see you in your phone listening to our latest episode, which will be about UMK, and I'm going to stop talking now.
Well, perfect. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.